for being very much receptive, for allowing us to be part of this occasion. It was very short, but the fact that you permitted us, we think is something very marvelous. We're looking for. We also want to say thank you to the University of Liberia, our own president, for being very much supportive as well, for gracing the both occasions. We say we are very glad from city perspective. To the foreign minister, who were here early this morning, representing the president, leading the reef while we were engaged in other activities to be here. Mr. Foreign Minister D. Maswell Sakimaya, you have our wholehearted appreciation for continuously serving this country and demonstrating what patriotism and nationalism is. I want to say thank you to each and every one of you. Madam President of the University of UMU, I want to say thank you to and to all of our dignitaries, most especially to our cultural team, the Crusader of Peace, our partnership. I want to say thank you to you and all our regular citizens, all of you who have made it possible to be here. I want to say hats off to you and our good friends, journalists. We also want to say it is you that conveyed the message. I want to say thank you so kindly, and to our beloved students, most especially those who are benefiting from the J.J. Robert Foundation Scholarship. We want to say thank you, and I know what it means to be a scholar. It's important, meaning you have to make hard choices. You have to separate. Your choices have to be limited. And I think it's against our backdrop today you find yourself. Let us continue to lift the legacy of our founding father, the one who thought about this country, and he felt that one of the ways to sustain it, like I make my comment when when we were celebrating the Indo program, we might begin to think whether we want to be remembered only when we are present, or want to be remembered when we are absent. We're not around anymore. I think the president, and that's when I was doing my welcoming remark, I started pondering what to do on the Bicentennial. If you follow me, I started researching, and I was very fortunate. One of his many speeches came across one. There was a forecast about this Bicentennial. When I saw the speech, and I said it was the appropriate message to be delivered. And fortunately for me, right after that welcoming, a lot of international people were very concerned about and asked me, say, where did you get the speech? And I said, it was written by our former president. It was very intriguing. People commented on. That is the man today, a man who saw before his generation. And even after his life, today we continue to celebrate him. There are steps he engaged in. Today we are proud to say we are a country that didn't fall prey to colonization. It didn't happen just by that. It took men with astute reasoning, thinking to say this country can be independent, far of being colonized. I think they were escaping what they experienced in slavery. And they said, we cannot give room to that. Today, under his leadership, we are able to live beyond the country. We may not have fulfilled all of the aspirations, but I can say to you, if we maintain two things, honesty, love, patriotism, this country will go above. Thank you so much.
Honorable Jefferson Tambakoji, the Lord Mayor of the city of Monrovia, can we kindly recognize him again with a clap for giving us such insightful perspective on our president, our first great president, Joseph Jenkins Roberts. Yes, indeed, he was thinking of the future, and he invested into what happens when I'm absent. Yes, thank you, Honorable Mayor Koji, my boss. So we'll now recognize and ask the J.J. Roberts Educational Foundation and the chair of the Board of Trustees, the Honorable Tenen Brunson, who also happens to be the Deputy Minister for Budget of the Republic of Liberia. Madam, you're welcome. Thank you. So please give remarks.
Thank you, Franco. Ladies and gentlemen, I will stand on all protocols. I don't know what to say, but what we are saying here, what we're witnessing here, what is happening now, is what collaboration is all about. At the 9th hour, we had to make changes. Luckily, we were fluid. We embraced the ideas. And here we are today. Thank you, Madam Andy. Thank you, Franco, for harassing me. Because late at night, I will hear him calling me, Madam, where are we now? We're on this, we're on that. And I'm glad that it all turned out like it's happening. We are here today to celebrate a very great person. And we can see where his monument stands, at the highest peak in Monrovia, where even in his death, he's watching over us to make sure that we carry out his vision. So we are obligated to maintain his promise. So I want to thank everybody for coming, those of you who made it here, who were at the program this morning, and still found time to come back here this afternoon. Thank you all. And we look forward to better collaboration with the government, with the private sector. The bottom line, I think, for the president, he was looking at the future of the young people. And like the guest speaker said, 65% of our population is the youthful population. What do we do with them? How do we prepare them for tomorrow? It's something that we need to wake up every day and try to see how we can figure out the answers to. But we can't do it in isolation of them. They need to be sitting in that room and we're having discussions about their future. We can make any decision we want to make. If they don't appreciate it, they will not use it. We need them, even if they're just listening. So tomorrow when they sit in our shoes, they know exactly what to do. So you young people, I'm going to challenge all of you. You got to step up to the plate. The man's vision was about you. You have to prove to him that you are worthy of that vision. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Honorable Bronson. So again, please let us recognize her with a clap for those remarks. She currently is the head of the Board of Trustees for the J.J. Robert Educational Foundation. You know, he founded this foundation, and you have heard, and as was read in his life sketch, that he left his estate for the education of Liberian children. And I was doing a calculation in the facts of what he left behind. And he left $10,000 US at the time, with 102 acres of land. And then the value of 10,000 will be 26 times 10,000. And if you did a calculation of 102 acres of land, you probably will be getting something close to $900,000 to $1 million for the value of land that he left in our times. So it means Joseph Jenkins Roberts left more than $1 million if he were alive now. That's the asset that he probably left for Liberian children. So imagine a president or Liberian leaving that kind of value of wealth. So what he left then in the 1800s, equivalent to what the value would be now, was something that was selfless, something that can any Liberian do now? Can a Liberian leave $1 million? Any Liberian now who has $1 million is almost everything he has for the education of the future of children. This was a great thing. This was a great thing. And this was one of the greatest things any Liberian has ever done. So she now has that educational foundation that sees that his legacy for Joseph Jenkins Roberts' dream will be fulfilled. Thank you, Madam Bronson. Now, and thank you to the United Methodist Church. Now, we recognize the United States Embassy. We know the United States Embassy is very interested in our celebration of Joseph Jenkins Roberts, our first president, and they're very concerned about how we observe his legacy. So even if they're not here at this program, which you've heard came on as very recently to have been planned, we recognize their presence. And we appreciate the fact that they are very concerned about how we celebrate and commemorate our first president, President Joseph Jenkins Roberts. Now, we're now pleased to move forward with remarks by the Ministry of Information. So we'd like the Ministry of Information and the representative. Okay.
Forget it.
All right, so the Minister of Information is not present. So we will now recognize His Excellency, the Honorable D. Maxwell Sir Kamaya, who is the Minister of Foreign Affairs of the Republic of Liberia. Your Excellency, sir, thank you.
Thank you very much. This is the third remark in a day's time. In as much as we do talk, this is history, because this is unprecedented for me. But that's what the duty dictates. And so we are pleased with utmost humility to be at the service of the government and people of Liberia. Having said that, we do recognize all of the platform guests and our fellow citizens. And we want to say that the words are inadequate to describe the manner of man that our founding president, Joseph Jenkins Rabas, was. As I listened to the Master of Ceremony, making an attempt to measure what J.J. Rabas left, he did very well in terms of measuring, but what J.J. Rabas left is immeasurable. And as a matter of fact, he continues to live on. The scholars or the students in the back, and even students to come, if you want to add the value of what they've attached, what they have for themselves and their families, you can all with the support from the foundation, J.J. Rabas Educational Foundation, link it to what J.J. Rabas continues to live. So we can't measure it. His selflessness is incomparable. And today, because of that, we are enjoying the work, the value of that through the beneficiaries. Where at the church, some spoke. And I'm very pleased, also as the Minister of Foreign Affairs, to state that we look forward to teaming up with the foundation and seeing how best or in what way that we can collaborate as it relates to the foundation. Last year we were here, but not at this particular hour. But I enjoyed the added impetus that is being given to the 213th birth anniversary, owing to the Bicentennial commemoration. So while it is good, in subsequent years, at least for the next 100 years, we will not have Tricentennial, celebration. But the fact that this aspect where we are today could be added to the birth anniversary celebration of J.J. Roberts, we want to propose that this partnership, which produced the nature and scope of the birth anniversary this year, that it be continued, that it be sustained, so that we have an opportunity to see more of it. We see the different acts work. Maybe, who knows, from next year and beyond, we could be at this same venue and where different kinds of work or different kinds of things depicting the work of J.J. Roberts could be displayed out of creativity and innovation. But it is important that we sustain the partnership. Ambassador Judy Andy and her team, the Ministry of Information, Cultural Affairs and Tourism, Monrovia City Corporation, and the Ministry of Foreign Affairs will be very pleased to be a part of that, so that the celebration can be an integrated one as we see this year, because we see everyone in high spirit. We like to assure you, the members of the J.J. Roberts Educational Foundation, that this administration, under His Excellency Dr. George Manawia, President of the Republic of Liberia, remains relentless towards supporting whatever that has to do with education. Some of the beneficiaries of the foundation have the IQ, do have what it takes, but could be challenged in terms of gap with respect to need. And I'm sure the foundation is addressing that. And some of us who know from our humble beginning and challenges we had also with our programs like scholarship, we could not be here also, because I'm also a beneficiary of some form of scholarship, LAMCO to be specific. So the president will know his story. He has never hidden that in terms of the humble beginning and challenges. So it presents an opportunity for us to remain relentless, because there are thousands of Liberians out there who may be in the categories that we were in some years back, having the mind, the brain to learn, but not having the opportunity. And that's the goodness of the foundation. And we want to appreciate you, the foundation and the Methodist Church, for being good stewards, because J.J. Roberts is not here today, and he passed on something, but that which he passed on could have been lying in ruins had we not had good stewards. So it is important to mention, that the church, the Methodist Church and the foundation continue to be good stewards as it relates to the Scholarship Foundation, and we want to hail you for that, and we think it is exemplary. To the media, before I take my seat, we've seen the same faces from up there, then to the church back. It also speaks volume as to your level of patriotism and nationalism, and that's good with respect to your sense and call to duty. So we want to appreciate you also, for we maintain that the media is an indispensable element of society. Thank you.
Thank you. His Excellency, the Honorable D. Maxwell Kamia, Foreign Minister of the Republic of Liberia. Can we kindly give a round of applause again for the Foreign Minister? Yes, indeed. What His Excellency, the late President Joseph Roberts left behind is actually immeasurable. That is a fact, sir. Thank you. It is immeasurable. It is immeasurable. So now it's our pleasure to recognize and welcome to the lectern the Ambassador Judy Andy, a member of the Bicentennial Committee. She's also Queen Judy Andy and the Cultural Ambassador of the Republic of Liberia for a presentation.
Well, I carry the title Ambassador, and I'm also the traditional queen. So I would like to appeal to the Foreign Minister representing the President in absentia that if he speaks, I am not supposed to speak. So can I, because I should have done the presentation before the President's practice. My presentation today, I'm speaking from an artistic perspective. In C4D, which is Communication for Development, if you have an opportunity to say something and you don't say it, it's called missed opportunity. It doesn't give you impact, and then you will not have the deliverables that you need. We have the Foreign Minister here who is the co-chair of the Bicentennial Committee. We have the mayor of the city of Monrovia and the city government who also the co-chair of the Bicentennial Committee. You have sitting in the same audience the president of the University of Liberia and his team. They are on the History Committee. Then you have other universities presidents here. This is an opportunity for me, and I must say what I want to say in my presentation. The presentation actually was the presentation of the wife, the late wife of Joseph Jenkins Roberts, and our first lady, Jean Rose Warren Roberts. But the presentation was done up to the monument. You will see a structure, and that structure will actually carry the face, and because it's been built. And so we'll do that and take it to the museum. That was done today. And a quilt, you can see the design of the quilt is in purples and colors with flowers. It has the US flag and the Liberian flag. And it has Joseph Jenkins Roberts' 113th birth anniversary, Bicentennial, 200 years. That is the presentation. But I also want to say here, with an opportunity to the co-chairs, that Bicentennial 200 years will not come by for us. And so the Centennial left the executive, the Centennial Pavilion. When Liberia was 100 years, they constructed the Centennial Pavilion. We are 200 years. There are other projects, national projects of government, but we are talking about artistic projects. So we are appealing to the chair, through the co-chairs that are here present, because the chair was here earlier on, that we from the artistic community appealing to the Bicentennial Committee that some of the legacy that you will leave on this ground should be a stage, the state-of-the-art stage with the gadgets. That means lights, LED screen, stage, the speakers, the lights, the stage, the carpet, and everything. And that specification has been submitted to the Ministry of Information, Cultural Affairs, and Tourism. We are in contact with the agents. The agent will come and train people on the ground to be able to manage and engineer what they are going to bring on stage. If you can do that for us, for this Bicentennial 200 years, we need not to bring sound and stage from other countries. We can use our stage and sound here. We also need to improve on E.J. Raw building, or give us one building for a national theater where we can be able to showcase our movie. That can be done during the Bicentennial. And another thing that we want to say here is that for us, the Bicentennial is not an event-driven. It's a Bicentennial is more of a legacy that you can leave on the ground. It's about rebranding and then reclaiming your thing. Pan-African leadership. We need to go to Ethiopia and see whether the 3 presidents in Kwame Nkrumah, Secretary, and Tupman pictures or structures are there. We need to move on to see whether we can go and sell the Bicentennial to others, because we want investment. We want to know how many investment will take place when the Bicentennial is over. We want to know how many African Americans or people from the diaspora or Europe will come. The diaspora will come and live in Liberia because it's a land of return. It is our appeal to support the artistic industry so that creativity, because we believe that creativity and innovation, creativity and imagination equals innovation. So we are appealing to the Bicentennial Committee to leave something on the ground, not at a political level, but for peace building and nationalism, patriotism for the artists of Liberia. We have the vision. We are telling you we can go to the counties and take the Bicentennial to the counties. We've done the 17 vernaculars. Let's go and tell in our languages to our people in all the counties what we mean about Bicentennial. Let us sell the image of Liberia outside of Liberia. Let's encourage colleges, black colleges in America, Morehouse, Spelman College, black colleges in America to come to Liberia and have a exchange with the University of Liberia. I'm strategically saying that because the university president is here. They have black colleges. I used to teach African dance at the Vera colleges. So we can use that connect and bring those people to come and help to train our people, and then also have cultural exchange. We have to support our culture. History is written, but culture is living. It's a living culture, and you must respect it. Thank you very much. That is my presentation.
Please, we have heard it. We need to support the exposure of Liberian culture during this Bicentennial to attract attention and investment into this country. The Bicentennial is not about an event, it should be about a program to sell Liberia. The Honorable Ambassador Judy Ndi, traditional queen, member of the Bicentennial Committee, thank you so much. We know the message has gone well, the message has gone out, and the message has gone very clearly to everyone. Now, ladies and gentlemen, it is a great thing when you are people who recognize history. And any nation that does not respect its past and celebrate it needs to question whether it has a clear vision of its future. Respecting the past and the history of your culture, too, is important for national development. You know, one of the means by which you can show that you know your history or respect your past is through family lineage. Everybody here is connected to a grandparent or a great-grandparent or a great-grand relative. We didn't just fall from heaven. We came to the earth through others. So any nation that recognizes the linear connections of its forebears and the descendants of those who set great legacy is a nation that has begun to recognize its past and can see its future. I'm saying all of this to now welcome to this lectern a descendant of the late, His Excellency, the late President of Liberia, Joseph Jenkins Roberts. He's the great-great-grandnephew of Joseph Jenkins Roberts, our first president. And the Honorable CTO King will give us a few remarks on behalf of the family of Joseph Jenkins Roberts. Please give us a round of applause. Thank you.
protocol reserve, Mr. Mayor. I won't say much, except the little girl that spoke earlier about Roberts. There's a building on the corner of Broad and Buchanan Street. It's the John H. R. Roberts building. It's that CTO King building. I'm one of the relatives. So that's the story. The second story I want to say, the Bicentennial, we're lucky that we have the foreign minister and the mayor here. They have a forestry development authority that have demarcated certain community in this country for carbon. And one of the communities they delegated is in Lima County. And they have sent a protocol up now for them to go a carbon credit assignment. So it's a direct message that God has sent the president representative here that is now his chairman of forestry to make this thing into action so that Liberians, the community, not the beachers, can get in the villages and do carbon trading for the benefit of the community, not for the companies. And they have chosen us to be their co-partner in this area. Thank you.
So please recognize again Mr. CTO King, a family of our great president Joseph Jenkins Roberts. Joseph Jenkins Roberts. Joseph Jenkins Roberts. Joseph Jenkins Roberts. For me, Joseph Jenkins Roberts is the greatest personality all time in history. I remember years back when I was way down in grade school, I had a very smart and very intelligent teacher from Ghana. His name was, we call him Master Pobi. That was back then in St. Patrick's High School in Monrovia, before the war. And Master Pobi was such an informed mind. I know very well that he was one of the few professors throughout my lifetime that I can still to this day remember. He was an elderly man. Master Pobi was, I think, in his 70s. But the Holy Cross Brothers decided to allow him to teach us because he was so informed. He never went to the school, to the classroom with anything to refer to. And I remember one of the things I remember very well about Master Pobi recognized, he knew every country in the world. He taught us history, he taught us geography and social studies. Master Pobi knew every single country in the world. So he could draw the map of Africa, and then he could place in the country and tell you the capital city of that country, the population of that country, the geographical location of that country, the longitudinal, latitudinal position of the country, the president of the country, the vice president of the country, the political party that were in power, and when the country got an independent, every single country. So, and he required that from us, the students, to be like him. Of course, we couldn't be like Master Pobi. And so, one of the days he came to the class and decided to tell us about Liberia, about this Republic of Liberia. And so he drew the map of Liberia on the board. And Master Pobi asked us, what can you tell me about Liberia? So, everybody, he gave us an assignment to us in the class. So everybody will raise their hand. Somebody will call Liberia population, somebody will call Liberia square mile, somebody will call how many counties in Liberia, somebody will call the president of Liberia name. You know, the obvious things that everybody knew, everybody will say it in the class. So Master Pobi said, no, you haven't told me anything about Liberia yet. Go back, I gave you this assignment. So I decided, I said, what is it about Liberia that Master Pobi asking us to say that this class of 50 smart students cannot say? So I decided to go and check. And I used to like history. And so I started to check. I went to our library. It was not very informed. I mean, they had some books there, St. Patrick. So right next door at LU, went to the LU Africana Library. What is there about Liberia that I must have put out? There was no Google, so you couldn't Google anything on the internet. You gotta go to the library to read. So no cell phone, no, you know, like the young people now, you can pick up a handset and you Google anything. So then I went to the Africana session and found my first exposure to the Africana session. And I was fortunate to come across a book that somebody wrote about Joseph Jenkins Roberts. Because I went to the Africana session, I wanted to read on Liberia. And then I saw this book. I think it was, I can't remember the title, but it was something like a kind of biography of Joseph Jenkins Roberts. So I picked it up and decided to look through it. I flipped through it. I was a young student. I flipped through it, I flipped through it, I flipped. And I began to read on Joseph Jenkins Roberts. I read a lot of interesting things. His mother, Amelia Roberts, came to Liberia with her children. Joseph Roberts was the second. His elder brother remained there. He was about 20 years old when he came here. He had already been a successful businessman because his stepfather had left money that the family could invest. I read all of this. I read that Joseph Jenkins Roberts, yeah, he opened a company. He came to Liberia. He was very successful in business. So people asked him to be the chief tax collector because they could trust him now with their money. Then he became the lieutenant governor. Then he became governor. He became president. I read about Joseph Jenkins Roberts. I read that he had two brothers. One of them became a medical doctor that he sent to school. The other guy became a bishop or head for the Methodist Church. The other one, not the other guy, sorry. So I read, I was enthralled. Joseph Jenkins Roberts, because we just used to hear about Joseph Jenkins Roberts. Then I came to the place that he left his properties for the education of children in his will. I mean, I was shocked. So then I decided to go back. When we went back to the class, the next time I supposed to ask us, can anybody say anything about Liberia? So I gave my friends a chance, but there was nothing new to say. So then I raised my hand. And then I said, Joseph Jenkins Roberts was the first president of Liberia, and he left his property for the education of Liberian children. The man jumped me, said, yes, Franco. So he wanted us to say that. He said, look, he said, this is the only person that he knows of that had done that. And he said he has such vision. He himself, when he read it, he was excited about this Liberian who did this. So Joseph Roberts is a great, great man. So he became my all-time greatest personality in history. Besides Jesus Christ, I'm a Christian, so permit me. Besides Jesus, Joseph Jenkins Roberts is the #1 role model for me. I think what he did for Liberia is something that every one of us can emulate. Do you know that after Joseph Jenkins Roberts left power, after his first rule, he ruled for about 6-8 years after he left power, do you know that he went back to serve? He became ambassador. Yes. Then he became a president of Liberia College. Then he also served in the army, but he was still a businessman. You know, he didn't just go recline his laurels. Then the country had attention when President E.J. Roy and the Chubik Party and the Republican Party has attention about some loan that he took. And then some of the people said, no, he put Liberia in serious indebtedness. So the only person the state could trust at that time, well, he was not interested in becoming president. So they called him to come and take over. The first time he became president, he was in his very early 30s. When he became president again, he was in his 60s. Yes. So he took over. But he tried, because the loan was such a burden on the country to pay back. They needed him because he had tried to sell Liberia to the international powers of the times. You know, I read somewhere in 1869, then he was not president. He went back to Petersburg, where he had come from. And the people welcomed and celebrated the former head of state of an African republic. The black American people were excited to see him. And so he tried. They called him back as this diplomat to get the British people to forgive the loan. He didn't succeed in getting them to forget about the loan, but he succeeded in stabilizing the republic. He succeeded in making sure that after him, democracy will continue. So he turned power over. Unfortunately, about 2-3 years later, he died. But then he lived to see peace and stability in the land. And that is the legacy of Joseph Jenkins Roberts. That is the legacy. He's such a great man. So he's my all-time great hero. And that should be something for every Liberian. Read about Joseph Jenkins Roberts. Research him. And you will know that Joseph Jenkins Roberts was a great, great, great Liberian that we can read of and tell anybody in the world that there is such a man, there is such a Liberian. So ladies and gentlemen, we now will use this time to welcome the cultural performance by, oh yes, we have to respect, you know, Joseph Jenkins Roberts founded Liberia College. He co-founded Liberia College and became the first president. He later on became the University of Liberia. Can you imagine? This was the kind of thing that Joseph Jenkins Roberts did. He did this after he left power, after he served the first time. Then he went and he did this. So if Joseph Jenkins Roberts were president now, he would want us to recognize the University of Liberia. So with great pleasure, with great honor, we are humbled to now recognize the current president of the University of Liberia, who happens to also be a member of Joseph Jenkins Roberts Church, the United Methodist Church, the Reverend Dr. Julius Zawula Nelson. Reverend, you're welcome, sir. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I will stand on the protocol established. Once again, let me, on behalf of the administrators, faculty, staff, and students of the University of Liberia, the Lux in Tenebris, the light in darkness, congratulate the J.J. Roberts Educational Foundation for your stewardship and for all the work you do to ensure that these scholars continue to shine in the Republic of Liberia. The Minister, the Honorable Major, wonderful happy birthday to our first president, the father of the nation, and we look forward that all of us should continue to work together to expand this legacy. We at the University, J.J. Roberts, our founder and first president of the University of Liberia, are looking forward to be a part of this partnership and collaboration in expanding the works of J.J. Roberts to the Republic of Liberia. Congratulations, all of you, especially so to the scholars of the J.J. Roberts Educational Foundation.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, we're about to get some serious entertainment, but let's go through the formalities. And then you gotta stay to watch what the cultural performers are about to do for you. They will take you to another level. So now I have to recognize the vote of thanks from the Ministry of Information, our Minister for Culture and Tourism, our Minister for Tourism, the Honorable Princess Toakulon, our Minister for Assistant Minister for Tourism at the Ministry, as the Ministry of Information. Madam Minister, you're welcome. Thank you.
Thank you. The Honorable Minister of Foreign Affairs, Honorable D. Masberg Kamel, please permit me on this assistant podium to request that all protocols be observed. Thank you, Minister. On behalf of the Ministry of Information, Cultural Affairs and Tourism and my own boss, Minister Lechoho Rennie, I just got a quick call that he's not well, he's been admitted. Please keep him in prayer. So he'll be with us this morning at the laying of the wreaths at the monument. We want to say thank you to all of you. The Ambassador Judy Annie said it all. You know, when I watched the war between Ukraine and Russia, seeing how the Ukrainians are showing love for their country, I felt so proud as a citizen of Liberia, and one, I felt that I owe my country a lot. I should serve very well. And this is the only way we can pay back to our country. I'm proud to see a lot of young children standing here articulating well today. I'm so impressed. And I'm always engaged in schools to bring their children for tour. Let them know the culture, the history, the tourism attraction around. We have 204 tourist sites. Out of the 200, we have 64 that have been identified. And out of the 64, we have 4 that have been the most visited spots when it comes to tourists and our children. The J.J. Robert Monument is one of the best. The Providence Island is one. The Patawi Waterfall in Bond County is one. And the Robert Sport Grand Cape County, where we call the Summer Village. We are proud as a nation. With rich culture, rich history. It's a virgin territory we are in. We need to tell our stories. And how do we tell it? It's through the young generation. It's through the students. It's through the local people that are going to showcase this. So we need more of this. We need more of this. I'm so happy that we are celebrating our former president who paved the way for all of us and show that education is the best. Before we, women or ladies, we were just best for kitchen. But I'm proud to see most women now in leadership. I'm proud to see women taking the first step against men. Gender equality is the best. That's why when I saw the president of UMU, I was so impressed. I want to see that because some of us want to follow their footsteps. Thank you so much for your patience. Thank you for celebrating, for joining us. The Ministry of Information, the government of Liberia, and the Crusader for Peace, Ambassador Judy Ali. I escaped from her last night because I told her, "Man, you're too old, I'm young, but the energy you got, I don't know where you're talking from." 1 o'clock, 1 a.m., I left from here. She was still here with Rufus. I said, "No, I'm not going to follow your footsteps. Thank you. Just tell me that I'm lazy, no problem." Yeah. And I want to say thank you to the United Methodist Church and the foundation, to the president. We want to say thank you to the steering committee of the Bicentennial. They are doing extremely well. We are doing extremely well as well. Thank you so much for coming. Thanks to our media. Thanks to the arts and crafts, our students, our traditional leaders, and our diplomatic corps. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Minister Tokolan. Please give another round of applause for the Assistant Minister for Tourism at the Ministry of Information, Cultural Affairs and Tourism. Now, we need to get announcements now. Yeah, announcements from the Bicentennial Committee. So we now recognize Honorable Rufus Dakote. He's a member of the Bicentennial Committee, one of the strong organizers of all of these events and programs you're seeing. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, thank you. Honorable Minister, Ambassador Sir, Sir Kimia, Honorable Jeff Koji, Law Mayor, and I stand on all existing protocol. I'm very excited to be here today in commemoration of the birthday of our founding president of the Republic of Liberia, also being celebrated within the context of commemorating Liberia 200 years. My excitement is drawn from the fact that, according to the French philosopher, Frank Fanon, he said every generation will have to identify their own purpose. And you either fulfill that purpose or you betray it. And then John F. Kennedy went on to say that you ask what you can do for your country and not what your country can do for you. Given this, His Excellency Dr. George Manningwea, President of the Republic of Liberia, has envisioned the Bicentennial in a way that will unite Liberians to foster the history that we are celebrating here today for Joseph Roberts. How we push forward is captured in the theme of the Bicentennial, which is Liberia, the land of return. commemorating 200 years of freedom and Pan-African leadership. We are a country that the African Americans came to. We are a country that has been free for over 200 years because people came here to govern themselves. And then we did not stop there. We also went to lead Africa, the beacon of hope. When other countries were struggling with colonialism, Liberia was free, helping to free those countries. Founding the OAU, founding the African Development Bank, founding various organizations, including the League of Nations and what have you. It is that spirit that we want to announce to you that this bicentennial is a celebration and commemoration for all Liberians, both the government and the ordinary people. So what we want to announce to you is that we all can own the bicentennial. This is the purpose of our generation, that we can either betray or we can fulfill. You and me and the government can identify events, create your own event. The journalists, and most especially, you guys are the mouthpiece of this country. We want you to go and create events. Sell the bicentennial in such a good way. Social media, go and say a lot of great things about the bicentennial. We want the churches to be involved. We want the market church to be involved. We want the youth community to be involved. We want the countess to be involved. We want the artists to be involved. We want our brothers in the United States to be involved, creating events that will support the bicentennial so that we can promote tourism and investment in Liberia. Let's do it together. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'll just give you a request. Before we do our benediction, I'll just give you a request, so I have to ask you your pardon. Mr. CDO King said he wanted to say something. Okay, good, all right. So he said it's okay now. So we're about to do the benediction. In the program, you see the name of the Chief Imam of Liberia, Imam Ali Krai. Imam Krai is not here, but he sent a proxy. And the proxy is Ma Asata from the Governance Council, and she will do the benediction. Thank you.
Hello, raise our hand. A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. Alhamdulillahi rabbil alamin. Ar-Rahmanir Rahim. Maliki yawmiddin. Iyyaka na'budu wa iyyaka nasta'in. Ihdina siratal mustaqim. Siratal ladzina an'amta 'alaihim. Khairil maghdubi 'alaihim waladdallin. Amen. Amen.
Well, for visitors, I would like to come to the end of this broadcast here from the continuation of the Bicentennial celebration here at the Snapper Hill.
All right. Welcome Africa, Africa. No, Africa, welcome Africa, Africa. No, this is our story, an African story. Africa is beautiful, Africa so rich. This is our story, our Liberian story. See the mountains and the hills, our land is green. So I like Africa. All right. Welcome Africa, I want Africa. stories, the mountains and the hills. Our land is green, oh. Africa, Africa, go to that time. I think I'm going to